At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Yeah.
This time, we're looking at some segments from a Spanish radio show that was talking all about cybersecurity as we go into 2025. And we're going to kind of break down what they talked about and figure out what it means for you, what you need to know to stay safe online.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like this stuff is everywhere now.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity is not just some niche thing anymore. It's like impacting
it's
everybody.
Yeah.
And that really came across in this radio show.
Totally. Okay, so they started off with a recap of 2024 in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing wasn't exactly a happy, a happy feel-good highlight reel.
Not really. No, it was...
what were some of the big...
They really went straight into how cybercrime is changing.
Okay.
And evolving at this crazy fast pace, right?
Yeah.
Like, one of the experts even said it's almost unrecognizable from what it was a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
So, for example, they were talking about ransomware and how it's gotten so much more sophisticated, like ridiculously sophisticated. So, like, there's these tactics now, like double extortion.
What?
Where hackers don't just encrypt your data, which is what we used to think of, right?
Right.
But they threaten to link it publicly if you don't pay.
Oh, wow.
So it's like this...
Double whammy.
Yeah, double whammy to like force you to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, up the pressure.
And it's not just random attacks anymore, right? They were talking about how targeted attacks are on the rise.
Right. So instead of just kind of casting a wide net,
right,
now hackers are actually doing research.
Oh, wow.
And figuring out exactly who to target and how to target them.
So they're tailoring these attacks now.
Yeah, they're tailoring the attacks
to
specific individuals and companies. Which makes it harder to defend against.
So you can't just like rely on your basic security measures anymore.
It's not enough to just like set it and forget it,
Right.
You got to be way more proactive, like vigilant,
Okay, so then they start talking about this deep learning curve, which I thought was such an interesting way to put it. What do they mean by that?
So it's this idea that like a lot of what we think we know about cybersecurity is totally outdated. Like, our assumptions are just wrong.
Oh, interesting.
Right. So for a long time, especially for businesses, people saw it as cost.
Yeah.
Something to be minimized.
Right.
But now people are realizing it's actually an investment.
Yeah.
Like a crucial one. And the experts on the show are saying that neglecting it can actually be more costly in the long run.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is that happening?
I think it's a few things.
Okay.
One, the attacks are getting bigger.
Yeah.
And way more damaging. Like, we're seeing these massive data breaches and ransomware attacks that could, like, cripple a business.
Right.
It's hard to ignore a problem when it's costing millions of dollars. And also, the regulatory landscape is changing.
Okay.
Like, governments are cracking down all over the place. Mm-hmm. They're imposing these really strict cybersecurity rules.
Right.
And then huge fines if you don't comply.
Wow.
So it's not really a choice for businesses anymore,
Wow. So it's like ignoring cybersecurity is basically just setting yourself up for disaster?
Pretty much.
Okay.
And this shift in thinking, like, it's especially important for small and medium-sized businesses.
Yeah, I mean, they were talking a lot about PYMEs, which is what they call small to medium businesses in Spain, right?
Right.
They were talking about how they're increasingly in the crosshairs.
Yeah, like a target.
Which is, kind of surprising. Or maybe not. I don't know.
Well, the surprising part is that so many businesses still just aren't aware of the problem.
Really?
Yeah, it's a big problem. Like, the experts said that something like 50% of cyber attacks now target small businesses.
Oh, my gosh.
And there's this, like, really dangerous assumption that they're not big enough to be targeted.
Right.
They think they're, like, flying under the radar.
Yeah.
But that's just not true anymore.
So why are they being targeted so heavily? What's the deal with that?
Well, one of the experts used this great analogy. They said that cyber criminals are interested in the data behind your firewall, regardless of what size company you are.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if you're like a massive multinational corporation,
right,
or, a little bakery,
yeah,
your data is valuable.
okay.
And smaller companies often just have weaker security, right?
Right.
So they're easier targets.
Yeah, it's almost like,
Yeah.
thinking your house doesn't need locks just because it's smaller than a mansion.
Yeah, totally.
That's not a good idea.
And sometimes the data that's held by those smaller companies, like
Right.
customer information or financial records,
Right.
that can be even more valuable to criminals than like a big corporation.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. So even if you're not running some huge company,
Right.
your data still matters.
Yeah.
And needs protection.
Absolutely.
Okay. So next up, they started talking about AI, which is,
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what everybody's kind of like freaking out about.
Yeah.
But before we jump into that,
Okay.
I think we should take a quick break.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we're back, and we were talking about all this cybersecurity stuff.
Yeah.
And how things are evolving, and like no one is really off the hook.
No one's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're getting into like the stuff that feels like a sci-fi movie.
I know.
Like AI-powered attacks.
Yeah. AI is like,
what is going on?
it's not sci-fi anymore.
Right.
Like
Okay.
this is actually happening.
Wow.
And it's only going to get more intense like in 2025.
Oh, great.
Yeah, they were the expert on the show,
Okay.
Hervé Lambert.
Okay.
He was saying that AI is basically giving hackers this ability to just create smarter attacks, that can like learn and adapt and get around our defenses.
So it's not just about having a stronger firewall
No.
or like a more complex password.
It's a whole different ballgame.
So how do you even deal with that?
Right. It's like a human hacker can only work so fast
Right.
and try so many things, but an AI can just work nonstop.
Yeah.
And try millions of combinations and even like learn from his mistakes,
So it's constantly getting smarter.
Yeah, and finding those vulnerabilities.
This is kind of terrifying.
I know, and it brings up this really important point, I think, which is that like this shift to AI-powered attacks, it means cybersecurity isn't just about technology.
Okay.
It's about us. It's about
human
behavior.
Okay.
And our awareness.
So how do we even begin to deal with that? Like we can't all just become AI experts overnight, right?
No, but we can become more aware of like how we might be vulnerable. Like Hervé Lambert, he said this thing that really stuck with me. He's like, we need to be educators and filters.
What does that even mean?
So he's talking about like being critical thinkers online.
Okay.
So not just like blindly trusting everything you see or clicking on every link,
Yeah.
You have to like think before you share and be aware of the potential consequences of your actions.
So it's like cybersecurity is becoming like a life skill that we all need to be actively learning and practicing.
Yeah, like constantly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us back to that question of whether 2025 is the year that cybersecurity becomes a personal issue for everyone.
Like, is this the year?
Yeah.
It gets really real.
Yeah.
I think based on what these experts are saying, the answer is a big yes.
So it's not just about like protecting our devices anymore.
Right.
It's about protecting ourselves, our identities, our finances.
Yeah, our reputation.
Everything is all connected.
Wow. So this is kind of like the bad news, but I know there's got to be some good news too.
Yeah.
So like what can we actually do to protect ourselves?
Okay. Well, the good news is that while the threats are changing, so are the solutions.
Okay.
So they offered a lot of advice on the show, but it kind of boils down to a few key things,
Okay.
Like think of them as cybersecurity vaccines,
I like that.
Yeah, like Hervé Lambert said.
Or cybersecurity vaccines.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are our vaccines?
So first up, education.
Okay.
It's key. You got to stay informed about what are the latest scams?
Right.
What are the threats?
Yeah.
There's tons of resources online, even like government agencies that will give you updates and alerts.
Okay, yeah, I've seen those.
It's like anything else, the more you know, the better prepared you are.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, next vaccine.
Okay, strong passwords.
Oh, come on. I know. You've heard this a million times.
Yeah, I know.
But it's like...
But it's still true.
More important than ever.
Yeah.
Use unique passwords.
Okay.
complex passwords for
Yes.
every single account.
Okay.
And seriously, consider using a password manager.
Yeah.
It takes all the pressure off
Totally.
of trying to remember everything.
I mean, I can't keep track of all this stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. What about multi-factor authentication?
Oh, yeah, that's
everywhere now.
it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's a game changer.
Okay.
Like, it adds that extra layer of security.
Yeah.
So it's so much harder for hackers to get in.
Even if they have your password.
Even if they have your password.
Oh.
Yeah. Enable it wherever you can. Email, banking, social media, everything.
Okay. What about software updates?
Ugh.
I know those are annoying.
They're the worst.
Yeah.
But they're so important.
Really?
Yeah, because those updates, they include all these security patches.
Oh, okay.
That fix those like known vulnerabilities.
Right.
So you got to make sure your operating system, your apps, your software, everything's up to date.
Wow.
And if you're not using a program anymore, just uninstall it.
Get it off there.
Yeah, there's no point in leaving a potential back door open,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got like keep learning, strong passwords, multi-factor, update everything.
Yes.
Got it. What else?
Be really careful about using public Wi-Fi.
Oh,
Especially for things like banking or shopping.
Okay.
Because those networks are often unsecured.
Right.
So your data could be intercepted by hackers.
So that free Wi-Fi thing?
Yeah, not always such a great deal.
Yeah, not such a great deal.
Yeah, but if you have to use it, a VPN can be a lifesaver.
Okay, what is a VPN?
It's a virtual private network.
Okay.
And it basically encrypts your connection.
Oh.
So it's much harder for anyone to snoop on your data.
Even on public Wi-Fi?
Even on public Wi-Fi.
I've seen those advertised everywhere.
Yep, they're getting really popular.
For good reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a lot of stuff.
It is a lot.
And it's like you start to think like, oh my God, this is going to cost me a fortune.
Right.
To like protect myself.
Yeah, but that's actually something they emphasize on the show.
Yeah.
That good cybersecurity doesn't have to be super expensive.
Oh, good.
Like they talked about Panda Security as an example.
Right, right.
And their pricing is like really reasonable.
Oh.
Like they have plans starting at just €25 a year.
What? That's like...
Which is less than some people spend on coffee every month.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so for the price of like a couple of lattes,
you
can have some serious protection.
Wow, okay.
And their top tier plan that has like the antivirus, the password manager, the VPN, like all the bells and whistles.
Right.
It's only around €100 a year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're right. It's an investment.
It's an investment.
Not a luxury.
Not a luxury.
And it's like you were saying, you're investing in protecting your data, your finances, your peace of mind.
Your time, everything.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
We have.
But I kind of want to go back to something you said earlier.
Okay.
About cybercrime becoming increasingly personal.
Oh, right, yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So as technology becomes like more and more embedded in our lives,
right,
the lines between like the digital world and the real world, they just get blurrier and blurrier.
Totally.
And what we do online, it starts to have real world consequences.
So we're back, and I feel like we've really gone deep.
Yeah, deep dive.
Into this whole cybersecurity thing for 2025.
Yeah, it is a lot.
I mean, it's kind of unnerving, right, to think about like how our online actions can actually have
real world.
Yeah, like real world consequences.
Right.
So, I mean, what do we do with that?
Well, I think, it's definitely a shift in thinking for sure.
Yeah.
It's why it's so important to be aware of the risks.
Right.
And to actually like take steps to protect yourself.
So like if we had to distill everything we've talked about into like one key takeaway, what would it be?
I think the biggest takeaway is that cybersecurity, it's not just an IT issue anymore.
Okay.
It's like a human issue.
Oh, interesting.
Right. It's about understanding the risks.
Okay.
Making like informed choices.
Right.
And taking responsibility for what you do online.
Okay. So it's almost like it's becoming like a fundamental life skill, like managing your finances or taking care of your health.
Like it's up there.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It is.
So just like those things, it's a journey.
Right. It's a process.
Not a destination.
Not a one-time fix.
Okay.
It's about staying informed,
Yeah.
Adapting to new threats.
And making cybersecurity just like part of your routine.
Wow. Okay. So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
We got to start training now.
Yeah. The best time to start protecting yourself is today.
It's good advice.
Don't wait till you're a victim. You know?
Yeah. Okay, so as we kind of wrap up here, I want to leave everyone with one final thought, which is, we've talked about all these external threats.
The hackers, the ransomware.
Yeah, the AI attacks.
The AI, yeah.
But what about the threats that come from within?
Oh, that's a good point.
You know, like ourselves?
Yeah, that's something the radio show kind of touched on a little bit.
Yeah, they were talking about how our own biases and assumptions,
our emotions even,
can actually make us more vulnerable for these attacks.
Think about it. We've all clicked on a phishing email because it played on our fear of missing out.
Totally.
Or shared personal information without thinking because we trust the person asking.
Yeah, or put off updating our software because it's just...
Oh, yeah, it's such a hassle.
It's a hassle.
Yeah, our own behavior can be our biggest weakness.
So how do we address that?
I mean, that's tougher, right?
It seems way harder to fix than just installing some software.
It's definitely more complex, you know?
Yeah.
It requires a real shift in mindset, I think.
Oh, okay.
We have to be more mindful of our behavior online.
Right.
And actually think critically about the information we're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's almost like we need to develop this healthy skepticism toward the whole digital world.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so I mean, I guess as we go into 2025 and beyond, it's not just about protecting our devices, our data.
Right.
It's about protecting ourselves.
Our relationship.
Our values.
Yeah, our values, all of it.
In this increasingly complex digital world.
Yeah, because it's only getting more complex, right?
Yeah, it is. It is so. For everybody listening out there.
Stay safe.
Yeah, stay curious.
Stay informed.
Stay informed and stay safe.
You got this.
You got this.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.